Hello, welcome back to the BCS podcast for week 6, episode 3. How we doing, gentlemen?
Good, good,
Good.
good. Can't
Yeah,
complain.
yeah. Very eventful weekend this weekend, I guess you could say. Outside the
Mhm.
conference, inside the conference was pretty much chalk, but we can hop into some of the recaps there. We had a Friday night standalone game where it was one of the worst football games I think anyone's ever watched. The Nebraska-Illinois game. I mean, all-time sickos committee material. I mean, I can just read you the drive chart here of the second half, and we can go from there.
Yeah,
Let me get it up here. Obviously, the final of 20-7, multiple turnovers involved. I'm loading very slow here, so sorry for
yeah,
technological advances. Here we go, play by play. I'll just do the whole game because it's not even that bad. So we start off with downs, field goal, punt, 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 touchdown, touchdown, punt, punt, touchdown, punt, miss field goal, end of half. And here's the second half. This one's the best. Punt, fumble, field goal, punt, miss field goal, downs, fumble, punt, interception, interception, fumble, downs, end of game.
yeah. A lot of
That's some
fumbles,
that's
a lot
some
of punts.
we gotta treasure these games for the limited time we're gonna have the Big Ten West at the end of this
Yeah,
year. A lot more of these games going to be end up. How much more fun would the game have been if it was USC instead of one of these two teams? I disagree. I
yeah.
appreciate this like sicko committee material of all turnovers and field goals, but my goodness, it was a bad football game. I was
Illinois
watching.
looking horrible. I
Yeah, I
mean,
watched a bit of it, but 3 points second half is tough.
You
four,
know who would
four,
have appreciated this? All Iowa fans.
yeah, they would have loved the punts.
All Iowa fans.
47 passes and only 7 points has been crazy.
Hawkeye Matt would have been talking about the hub.
Yeah,
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 it was tough. What we have here, yeah, quarterback rating of 37
yeah.
from Luke Altmaier. Honestly, one of his better games. I'm not trying to be
It's
47
insulting.
passes, but a 37 QBR. That's interesting.
300 yard, yeah, 287 yards or 289 yards, a touchdown and a pick. I mean, that's actually literally one of his best stat lines of the year,
Yeah,
and that's part of the reason why Illinois is 2-4 and 0-3 in the conference. It's
yeah.
tough out there. Making a bowl game might be a miracle at this point.
which
Yep.
is, I mean, I think a lot of us came into the season going, man, Illinois might like turn the corner at some point here. Like this might be an up and coming. Like maybe they win the West. Like
Yeah.
people were kind of talking about because they had a great defensive line and they were going to stop a lot of people with running the ball. And man, they're so boring on offense. So
Yeah, I think
it's
a lot. I think a lot of it was 1A, 1B, Iowa, Wisco, and then right behind him was Illinois, and that
Yeah,
is
and who
very
knew what
far
was
from
going
the
to
case.
happen? Yeah, it's
now I might say Northwestern is better than Illinois at this point.
yeah. I mean
That game's
they
going
have
to be
more
coming up
wins now.
soon.
So next game Saturday, Wisconsin 24, Rutgers 13. Just kind of a Wisconsin running the ball. Braylon Allen 101 yards, touchdown. I mean that's what they do to win. It
It's
doesn't
the
look
perfect
like it was.
game. It's the perfect game you wanted.
Yeah,
While it was going on during the Maryland game, Maryland Ohio State game, and the
yeah,
Red River Shootout. So it was like
yeah,
just make things happen. Collect the check.
yeah,
Rutgers with the cover, which was nice for me on
yeah.
the weekend. But yeah,
Yeah, there
overall,
was
very
wasn't
gross
a whole
game.
lot of people watching those type of games. Same
Nope.
with the next game, Howard Northwestern. 20
71,000.
Yeah,
71,000 people watched this
71,000
game.
people watching, under a
Okay.
million. I think it was the
And
only game that was
did
way
you see
below.
what was even worse? There was two volleyball games on after that on Big Ten Network in a row, and they averaged over 100,000 people watching.
Yeah, of
There was
course.
more people watching the Nebraska volleyball game, and I don't even know who was on after that, but Nebraska was one of the games. More people watched the women's Nebraska volleyball game than the Northwestern football game on Big Ten.
Yeah,
Hell,
I
I
don't know
have a
why they
more
didn't.
viewed video than a Big Ten football game.
Yeah, they should have
Hate
put
to
it
see
on
that.
Peacock at that point. I mean, they had some good games on Peacock that they could have taken off. Seriously, I don't understand how it works.
We'll talk about we'll talk about the Peacock later.
Yeah.
We'll
And
talk
then
about
the next game, Iowa 20, Purdue 14. Same thing that's been going on. Purdue sneaking or Iowa sneaking by with the backup quarterback. Eric All another touchdown back to back weeks now.
He's
To where
helping
he had a
helping my
touchdown.
fantasy team big. I've
Yeah,
had Eric
he's
all on the bench all year, and
but
he's
5-1
finally
with a 5-1,
good.
2 wins in a row with the backup quarterback. They're kind of
Big
in
game this
the
weekend.
yeah,
Big game.
they were in the driver's seat and they're setting themselves up nice for this week.
Yep. I mean, it's pretty much winner take all this weekend.
I mean, Purdue has just been struggling. I mean, that's been known for
Yeah.
a while, and I don't think there's a much that's going to turn them much around this season.
A very
Losing their
bad football
coach.
team in
Yeah.
Purdue. Very bad.
But I mean, they have less wins than Northwestern. Northwestern hit their win total already. I mean, if you asked me before the year if that was going to happen after everything that happened, I would have said no, absolutely not. But and then we'll get into the big games of the day. First off, the Michigan game. Blake, what do we think?
Yeah, it was one of those games where after the Ohio State game, a lot of people were looking to troll. I'm assuming a lot of Ohio State fans looking to troll Michigan at any point. When the second play is a pick six and Michigan is up 7-0 and then up quickly 10-0, like 3 minutes into the game, it was pretty comfortable. Probably one of the best performances I've seen from JJ McCarthy in his career. There was a very viral clip went out where he, calls out the blitz coming in, checks out of a run, even though Harbaugh, you can see on the Harbaugh sideline, Harbaugh is screaming to his mic. He's like, run, 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 run. And JJ can audibly shake him off. And then they throw a 50-yard dime down the field for a touchdown. And he gets an and one as he got roughing the passer on that play. Corum is doing his thing, playing well. Cleo Mullings, right? This guy was a linebacker 2 years ago and just kind of became our goal line back with a lot of injuries. And now he's legitimately probably running back 2 and might be running back 1 next year because Donovan Edwards just really has yet to turn it on this year, which is probably, I would say, the only thing I'd be worried about at all. But yeah, Michigan scored 52. We had all but one player play. Our backup long snapper did not get in.
Yeah, I saw that. They pointed him out on the graphic and everything.
Yeah, but you scored through the air, you scored through running. I mean, our backup quarterback is running JJ with 2 rushing touchdowns, including a vicious stiff arm. It was great. The guy might have been off balance, but I did not see that, of course. Yeah, and then PJ Fleck spent his entire press conference basically on his knees for Michigan, which I love to see. And then the graphic going around right now is, it was a warning to Tom Allen, because not like Tom Allen could stop anything anyway, because Michigan's playing Indiana this weekend. It's like, get ready for an NFL team when you're playing Michigan. It's like, oh dear, we might have. The bubble is starting to get pretty big on Michigan ego by the media. I don't think the team really feels it. I think it's more the media around it, because every year there's a very love-hate relationship with Michigan media, national media to Michigan the past few seasons, where it's been like, hey, look at this Michigan team. This is the best one yet. And all of us fans are like, no, we suck. And then it's like, look how good they are. Look good they are. And then it's, the usual, we'll beat Penn State because we always do. We'll usually in the past lose to both of you two. And they're like, wow, who hyped up this Michigan team? And it's like, you're the one holding the gun. How are you asking who killed him? You're holding the gun. Hopefully it doesn't set up like that. But this Michigan team's great. Everyone's getting healthy. If Donovan Edwards remembers how to play football like he did last year, this team
explosive.
This team will be favored over everyone. This team will be favored over everyone, maybe bar Georgia. But all
right. Big Ten game of the week. The most anticipated, I would say, Ohio State, Maryland. In my opinion, it was very interesting in the first half, but then Ohio State does what they do best and they pulled away. What do we think, Cozy?
You know what? Okay, so I'd like to actually give a shout out to our fan base. A noon kickoff against Maryland, like you're expecting, okay, whatever. It's going to be like this morgue of a place. Like no one's going to be up. No one's going to be hyped. Like it's not a big game and it's Maryland and we dominate them and all this other stuff. The shoe brought it on Saturday. The shoe literally, it felt like we weren't, okay, so how do I put this? We've had this like cocky swagger to us where like no one else in the Big Ten can touch us for years upon years upon years. And it's like some of these games, like we sleepwalk through, it's kind of boring. It was not like that at all Saturday. Like band came out, everyone was up. Place was packed for the band coming out. Even the students showed up. Like there was like our backs are against the wall kind of mentality, but everyone seemed really hyped. It seemed like that Notre Dame win was what is just like accelerating us and like saying to us, okay, this team isn't as bad as we thought. This team's pretty good. Plus Notre Dame also beat Duke and everyone was kind of shocked by that. So it was exciting to see that. I don't know what Ryan Day does on fourth down anymore. I'm just going to, we're just
very
gonna,
interesting. a fake punt, the way it was ran was very interesting.
And I was at the opposite end of the field, so I have seen the replay, and I couldn't see it like very close up live, but it was like, oh, really? What are you doing? So we created ourselves a 10-0 hole, and it kind of looked like things were kind of heading south, and Maryland was going to make this a game. And then Josh Proctor. So can't say enough about Josh Proctor. He's had his ups and downs here at Ohio State, a lot of downs. He came in highly recruited. Everyone loved him. For him to get that pick six, it almost felt like it was like another major turning point in the season. Like, oh, this game could get out of hand. The offense isn't moving the ball. Like, what's happening? Pretty much Maryland controlled the first quarter, and then boom, like it was like that pick six changed it. We went into halftime at 10. And then second half, it was like, oh, Maryland's going to put up a fight.
Yeah.
And they took the lead right out of the half. And it was like, oh, shit. Like Maryland's actually like, this might be a legit team. So some stuff that I did see was that I really liked, or that really concerned me, I guess. Kyle McCord really had trouble getting zip on the ball this week. And there was a few times where I get he was getting sacked like quite a bit. It wasn't like it was just outrageously that he was getting sacked, but there were some concerning things. Let's put it that way. And I just, in my honest opinion, he took 3 sacks. Probably like 2 of them were his fault that he like turned into.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, he's probably got like 10 quarterback hurries per game. The line's still very concerning. A lot of other stuff that I was really relieved about is how we actually came back in the second half. One thing I will say is we finally have a kicker. Every time he trots out there to kick the ball, I loved. Now I'm mind blanking on his name, Ruggles. I loved Ruggles, but I think Fieldings is much better. But overall, I think we kind of found some stuff out about Maryland.
Yeah, absolutely.
We still won by 20 points. It's funny because you can shrug it off all you want. We still won by 20
Throwing the
points.
ball with like a minute left in the game with all.
Yeah, come on.
I don't hate covering for your people, but
hey, they didn't cover. They tried. They didn't cover.
We really technically.
I thought it was 21 and a half.
No, 19 and a half wasn't close.
Oh, okay.
I got lucky on that, but hey.
Oh.
It's
a good day to get lucky.
Look, I get what you're saying. We pretty much were trying to run the ball down the end of the game. So, hey, you know what? It is what it is. That last set of drives, 27 yards, 8 plays, 3 minutes, like that was a field goal. It's Maryland's fault that they can't punt the ball far.
Yeah.
No, Maryland went for it. Maryland went for it on their own 10-yard line.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
they did, and they gave it right back.
Yeah, they gave you a short field with their backups in, and you couldn't score. That's what people are saying, not me. Other people are saying that.
The people were saying it, not Blake.
Averaging 1.9 yards a carry. Other people are saying it, not me. Josh Proctor is older than me.
You're gonna miss something?
Not saying that. Hey, I respect my elders. Josh Proctor, 24, almost 25. I appreciate him.
What are you talking about? They went for it earlier in the game, but not at the very end.
I thought they did. Oh no, it was a muff punt. I think it was. That went like 20 yards.
Yeah.
Oh, so they went for it. Yeah, they went for it. 10 minutes left in the game. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, they went for 10 minutes left in the game. Yeah. No, I was like, they didn't go for it like right at the very end.
No. No, they had some bad
punts. Did I like miss the whole? Did I like miss something in this game? No, their punter just sucks.
Yeah,
their punter is that. Actually, believe it or not, that is one thing I did notice from Maryland. Their punter, he had not just a few bad, like he literally sucked terribly. Like
in the second half, in the first half, he had a couple boots.
I want to say he had 2 boots in the first half, and then the second half, he had like 2 20-yard punts.
Yeah.
So
he got in his own head.
And here's the thing: when you're playing Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, you can't have a punter do it 20 yards.
No.
I will say this. Another very glaring concern, Steel Chambers. The dude literally couldn't, like, he literally looked at Tua and got shook out of his boots multiple times.
Yeah.
Not just once or twice. Like, we're talking like every time Tua ran with the ball, he got shook. I'm not sure whether or not giving CJ Hicks a chance. I know people are all up in arms about Jack Sawyer. I'm not really worried about him. This defensive line's good enough to have a certain weak link there. As far as overall, I mean, I think the three phases of the game, offense is getting it done when they need to get it done. Defense is probably one of the better defenses I can remember, and that's what's really hurt us in the past. If we would have had a defense like this with Justin Fields, a CJ Stroud, maybe things would have turned out different. So, I mean, here's the thing. It's all going to come down to 2 weeks from now, and we're really going to find out, is this defense for real? Because Penn State's line kind of sucks, but they still run the ball very effectively. So that's my
all right.
kind of recap of the game of the week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah,
it really was a good game. It was very competitive throughout. I mean, we can say what we want, but I think Maryland wins the West. I can tell you that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a
Maryland,
strong case right now.
Maryland easily wins the West.
So by week
almost
teams,
could win the West.
By week teams, yeah. MSU, Penn State, Indiana. That's the teams we're looking at that were on a bye week this week. And now we can go a little bit around the country, around with the BCS.
Can I get a minute on Penn State?
Yeah, let's do it.
James Franklin, man.
Oh,
relax.
Here we go.
Relax. All right, continue.
All right. First game we'll talk about.
Can I get 30 seconds on James Franklin?
Yeah, let's hear it.
He needs to win a big game first before he can say shit.
Yeah.
People are saying he's 1-12 against top 5 opponents.
It's not these people.
It's more than 12.
It's not these people.
You're the only team that Harbaugh could win. The only reason Harbaugh is still employed is because of James Franklin. All right, continue.
All right. Big game. We were all back and forth on the spread. It was an interesting 14.5-point line. Georgia versus Kentucky. Georgia rolls. Georgia did what we thought. They were upset with the game last week. Mr. Bowers had a big game, 132 yards and a touchdown. It looked like he was unstoppable against the ranked opponent. Kentucky just had no answer for most of the game. And it didn't seem like it was going to be close at any point.
Who'd you guys end up picking?
I picked Georgia. I picked Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might.
I think I'm getting confused the other.
We need to write it down.
Oh no, I picked Kentucky.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I picked Georgia and you both win Kentucky. That's what I remember.
I don't remember.
It was me versus both of you on every game. And I went 3-0.
Oh.
Every game? I don't know if that's right.
You both went A&M. I went Alabama. You both went Wazoo. I went UCLA.
Yeah, next game we're going to talk about right there. Texas A&M versus Alabama.
Well, I didn't expect Jimbo Fisher to be this dumb.
Yeah,
man,
it was an interesting game.
Come on. So there's a few things to that one, right? I mean, obviously the thing happened on the game, but again, the whole point is Jimbo Fisher did his thing. Look, man, some people just don't change. It's very rare people change, right? Harbaugh couldn't win any big game, and he finally changed.
And then he flipped the switch.
Franklin's been doing the same thing. Same with Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo Fisher is the person that's most angry with Brenda Tracy and all of them because now he's got no more, big contract jokes, right? Because that was always, oh, you think Jimbo's contract's bad. What about that guy's contract? Well, the problem is that guy's gone now. So now you're the joke of all the jokes, let alone your play on the field. You can redeem it this week. I don't know if we're going to talk about this game, but you can redeem it this week. But I mean, Milroe looks good. The thing with A&M is their pass defense is number 2 in the country last year. And now your run defense is unbelievable. And you can't stop a nosebleed in terms of passing.
No.
He made Jalen Milroe look like, I don't even know, who's a good thrower. Like
he was going to win the Heisman. Yeah.
Crazy.
It was insane. 321 yards, 3 touchdowns.
You know what? That A&M Bama game, and obviously I left the Ohio State game and didn't catch like the second half. You know what the Alabama A&M game reminded me of? It reminded me of when Lane Kiffin took Ole Miss to play Alabama like a few years ago. Yeah. And it seemed like they were going to win the game every time. And Lane Kiffin refused to kick field goals, refused to do anything when he got to the red zone that was smart. And it was like, dude, you have Alabama on the ropes. Like, stop screwing up. Like, just kick the field goals. Like, do you not have a field goal kicker? And granted, A&M missed a field goal. I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things where it just every time I look up to the TV, we were at a bar and watching it. Every time I look up, I'd be like, what are they doing? Like, what are they doing?
That safety they took. Oh my
Oh,
God.
Yeah, that was rough.
That'd been 7-point game instead of a 9-point game. Would have changed everything.
Yeah, it changed everything. They kind of threw it out the window.
Yeah,
Next
Bama
game we'll
sucks.
talk about. Yeah,
Bama sucks, by the way.
It's rough. I just don't think those teams are either one is anywhere close to
Bama will be 11-1 in playing in the SEC championship game, but
I'll argue that they probably won't. But
really,
yeah.
I think the next team we talk about still has a chance to make it. LSU 49, Missouri 39. It was a back and forth game. A lot of points. Shocker. These teams combined in their last 4 games before it were 7-1 in overs. So, of course, I hammered the over, and, of course, it just hit in the third quarter for some crazy number. Right at the beginning of the fourth, I think it was, actually. Not a huge performance from one specific player, kind of a little bit all around, but Jaden Daniels ran the ball really well, and that was one thing Missouri couldn't stop. 130 rushing yards and 1 touchdown from a quarterback on top of his 250 and 3 in the air. I mean, we knew it was going to be a lot of points. That's kind of what they're known for, and that's what we got.
So with this game, I think the biggest selling thing is this a Brian Kelly team? Like, go look at his Notre Dame teams. When are they ever giving up 39 points and winning a game, 49-39?
Yeah.
It's a very odd thing that he has going on with LSU right now. He's got the offense finally figured out, but his defense is just so atrocious.
Yeah.
Like, they can't tackle anybody. They can't stop anybody. They're having trouble in coverage. And I'm not trying to say anything, but I'm not trying to say anything bad about Mizzou, but it's like, this is not a good LSU team. This is not a team that I look at and go, oh, they should be ranked. They're 4-2. They should be ranked.
Yeah.
I go and I look at last week Maryland and I go, they're a 5-1 team, and yeah, they should be ranked.
Yeah.
Brian Kelly has a major problem, and here's the other thing: his recruiting on defense right now is not great either. So it's going to be an interesting. There's a transition period still going on here, and I can tell you, LSU fans are not going to wait for it.
No.
Their quarterback should be ranked. That's about it. Literally, it's a one-person team.
Their quarterback is
Harold Perkins. Awesome. Had like a generational type game and season last year as a freshman. He hasn't done a thing this year. They're trying to make him do this run defense, which he cannot do. He can kill the passer, and that is it. And that's all he should be doing. It's like a Micah Parsons type thing where he should just be a weapon running downhill. They're trying to have him be like some beefed up DN stopping the run. And that is the reason why they have one of the worst defenses in the country. But Jaden Daniels, one of the best guys out there. I mean, that guy's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's all over the field. I mean, it's hard for people to stop him because he's just so electric. So it's unfortunate they don't have somebody else kind of in that second role to where they can.
Malik Neighbors is about it, but
but nothing too crazy. A big week of upsets this week. A lot of ranked upsets. We'll touch on the first one. I mean, number 24, Fresno State. I think I predicted this or came close and said Wyoming was going to cover. Fresno State 19, Wyoming beats them 24-19. So they're going to fall out of the polls this week. That was just kind of a game that was played late at night. I don't remember. I don't know if
the next one we really need to talk about.
Yeah, the next game.
I will say big game in the Mountain West though coming up this week is Air Force Wyoming. Winner will be ranked.
Air Force.
Winner. Okay, legit question here. Air Force wins that game. Are they now in the driver's seat for a BCS bowl?
They still got to play UNLV, who is a very good team. But other than that, yes. Yeah,
they can make it. That would be crazy. That would be.
Remember, it is the top ranked Group of 5 team gets to New Year's Six Bowl.
Yeah, because the American kind of sucks this year.
I mean, they would be looking at a playoff spot in next year's 12 team.
Sunbelt ate themselves alive. Maybe Liberty Liberty
Yeah.
can get a little love. They've been
Yeah.
not winning. They've been winning ugly, but they're still 7-0.
I mean, they still won. They still beat Jacksonville State.
Yeah,
so.
a win's
Or
a
6-0.
win.
Pardon me.
Especially in those group of four.
Yeah.
The next game, I hate to even talk about this. It's horrible that it exists. Georgia Tech 23, Miami, Florida 20. The infamous we're up and we don't take a knee and we fumble the ball, give them the ball back, and they take it the other way for in a couple play drive for a touchdown. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on what do we think.
Go ahead, Blake.
Someone tried to tell me that this was a worse loss than Appalachian State or trouble with the snap, and I could not disagree more. I understand that, it's an FCS school, but, there at least was like, with both of those games Michigan lost, there's a potential to lose, right?
Mm-hmm.
No matter how little it is, right? There's still a, percentage chance of losing.
Yep.
It was statistically impossible for Miami to lose.
No,
they had to go out of their way to do it. And now that we're recording this later in the week, the amount of things that have come out about this is insane. Cristobal trying to blame on the player, saying you need to carry 2 hands. The guy next to Cristobal screaming, kneel it. Okay.
I heard he was yelling kneel it to the offensive coordinator.
They wanted to get 100 yards. Clearly, that was what was going on. And look, was he down? Absolutely. Did you
Does it matter?
Get that call? Absolutely not. Like,
no.
I'm almost glad that the refs are like us. And the refs are like,
I don't know if he was
that was
down.
such a bad play. You have to fumble it, and it works.
Yeah.
And then
they have to drive.
There's been a large narrative recently about sports is rigged. This is the game you start with because Cam Kitchens, All-American safety, this kid's incredible. He's on a cover 0 blitz when there's like 2 seconds left in the game. Like, so many things went wrong. The last time I've seen that happen was when the Jets were playing somebody and they did an all-out blitz because they wanted Trevor Lawrence, a few years ago.
Yes.
That makes sense. It was against the Raiders. And Henry Ruggs took it to the house. A lot of things have happened since then. But, you could have been undefeated playing UNC. There would have been 4 teams undefeated in the ACC. And mind you, there's a great thing out there. We can talk about it with Louisville and regarding the ACC later. But listen, man, it's just inexcusable. I damn near fireball offense.
Yeah.
And
it's not the first time it happened.
And
Correct.
then he did this, I believe, once at Oregon when they were playing Stanford. Yep, I think everyone remembers.
Yeah.
How I just don't understand how you don't learn from your do it once. It's like one of those things. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. It's like, dude, how many times are you going to get fooled here? Because like you said, I can't believe they did the cover 0 all out blitz. I mean, what is going on? Yeah. Like they had one prayer left that they would have to throw a Hail Mary up anyways.
Down 3. So I expected it maybe even a field goal in overtime. Yeah. To lose outright is ridiculous.
Wide open. And so I know Zach played football and you've been around football. At the end of the game, I've been on the field when there's been a kneel down and the referees all go, if it's clean snap, don't hit each other. It's going to be a clean kneel down, etc. Literally. And it's that you can see it in college. You see it in the NFL all the time. It is still the same as when it was in high school. It's like, don't hit them. Like you can.
This is game's over.
Yeah. Game's over. Like that's all they had to do. And then it was like, I was just like, I remember like group college football group chat or group text. And I get like this text message. Oh my gosh, did you just see what Miami did? And I wasn't even paying attention. And I'm like, why? I mean, they're up 23-20 and looks like Georgia Tech's driving and they're going, oh no, go look at the play-by-play. And I go, they did what? Like I looked at it for a second and I thought, hey, did they like fumble the kneel down or something like that? So
that would have been crazy. That would have been even more crazy.
Yeah. So but you know what? You hit it right on the head, Blake.
Yeah.
The football gods literally said, don't be this stupid or we're going to penalize you. And
you're done.
Now, he was not down. I will argue that with you. They even said they reviewed the tape. He was not down. Was his forward momentum stopped? Possibly. but he was not down.
I don't know. And this game was something. It's something. We just don't.
This may be the worst coaching performance ever. And then you get Shannon Dawson to go up there on the stand and fall on the sword for you. Like, what is that? Did you have him? Was he the OC at Oregon too? I don't think he was.
I have no idea, man.
I don't know.
So just all around Miami being Miami and should not be trusted.
So next game, kind of a messy, weird scoring game. UCLA upsets the Wazoo 25-17 upsets. Blake called it. I'm not going to lie. 6 combined turnovers, and the difference in total yards, 471 to 216. And it was only reasonably within hand the whole time. Just kind of a messy game. Not a whole lot that was standing out too much. Dante Moore kind of 50% completion rating, a 31 QBR with 2 interceptions in the game. Yeah, pick 6.
Man, he's like 18. Give him a break.
Yeah, he's got time, but to win the game like this is kind of a big for his momentum to keep going.
I'm just trying to see if there's any games this week that match that same formula where it makes no sense. I mean, honestly, the one that sticks out to me is Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like, why is Notre Dame favored over USC?
Yeah.
Yep.
After
Speaking Notre Dame,
which is Notre Dame, next game, Louisville 33-20 over Notre Dame. The Louisville, Jeff Brom, he's rolling. He's got a little bit more assets and momentum, and I think he'll do much better at Louisville. And he's proven it why in the first season.
Well,
6-0 so far.
I mean, he's also dealing with a much easier schedule, shall I say.
Yeah.
Yep.
And hey, you know what? Notre Dame, give them credit. At least they can recover an onside kick. We saw that.
Yeah, it was very interesting.
Everyone for a second thought, I mean, they were getting boat race. They were getting.
That's what I'm saying. This score does not tell a story.
Yeah, no, it was.
They got their ass kicked, and it was a pretty handily ass kicking. People don't realize that. And here's the thing: it could have even been more misleading if Notre Dame went down and scored to make it 33-27.
Yeah,
I mean, they recovered an onside kick when it was 33-20, and they just scored. So
Louisville's floor is 9-3. I mean, this is a damn good football team.
Yeah,
Jawar Jordan. It as the Heisman always does. It sucks that he's at Louisville because Jawar Jordan is putting up Blake Corum numbers from last year. This kid's incredible. The running back, and I mean, they got at Pitt win, home against Duke. Or Riley Leonard's banged up at home. You know, probably gonna be favored. You got Virginia Tech at home.
He won't be
Virginia
back
Tech and Virginia back-to-back weeks, who both suck. And you got at Miami, who's a broken team, probably dead, and then Kentucky at home. That's a rivalry game. They come on the table.
There is a chance. Realistically, we talked about this the other day.
Yes.
There is a chance that 3 ACC teams all go undefeated, and they pick names out of a hat, and they say, "Well, this is it. One of you is 12-0, and you don't get
UNC, Florida State, and Louisville. All 3 don't play each other, and they're all currently 6-0.
Yeah, there might be some chaos at the end of the season.
So their tiebreaker is actually the same as the Big Ten's tiebreaker. It goes by common opponents that you play in the conference. So here's the key word here, in the conference, because I'm kind of looking at this, and Louisville hosts Kentucky, but then you have Florida playing Florida State as well. That's not a gimme for Florida State.
No,
because I don't think Florida State's that good. But I don't think the rest of I think outside of like the top 4 teams, the ACC is terrible. The one thing is, I believe is it Louisville's schedule that's easier? I can't.
Yeah, Louisville's got one of the easiest schedules in the country.
Yeah, they have like an easier schedule, but here's the thing. So because North Carolina, Louisville, and Florida State don't play each other, they look at the in the conference matchups, and I believe that there's one game that they all have that's different. Does Louisville play Syracuse? Okay, that's it. So they're looking at Syracuse right now because they think Syracuse could possibly like create some like separation for them,
and
because
UNC
they could win
killed them.
And UNC killed them. But if Syracuse starts winning games in the conference, which their schedule down the road, I believe, is a little bit tougher. It's going to push, essentially going to push Louisville out because they don't play Syracuse.
Which would be
And
unfortunate.
Yes. And here's the question. If Louisville goes undefeated and they get left out of the ACC championship game,
do they make the playoffs?
Do they make the playoffs?
Yeah, that is a good question. Else. Yeah.
And the scary thing is, does the committee really want to put 2 ACC teams in, even if they're undefeated?
No.
Yeah, that doesn't happen. I don't think so. But I mean, like it's such a weird, interesting thing we've never had happen. That
because these things never happen, and it's just always
this doesn't happen. So we just want to talk about it.
So it's fun to talk about what we can.
Yeah. We got a couple more weeks until this stops.
And it could never happen. It could never happen. So
I mean, this is the last chance it could.
Or they all go 11-1. That's even more fun.
Yeah. All the teams in the Big Ten and all the teams in the ACC go 11-1.
I can tell you that if that happens, then 2 teams in the Big Ten will get in.
Yeah. The next game we'll touch on was the overall game of the week consensus. I think everybody had their eyes on this game from the start. The Red River Shootout, which in the first half I was shocked because it wasn't a shootout. It was very close, low scoring until they started to get it together. There was a lot of turnovers right off the bat. There's a block punt. There's a little bit of everything in this game. I think it was very interesting to see these two teams face off. Especially now, I think they could possibly face off again in the conference championship at the end of the year. And everybody is iffy on that, but Oklahoma looked like they were ready to play.
I agree with what you said. That's it. I don't have much to add to it. I mean, I think Texas was a bit of a paper tiger because the whole Bama thing kind of weighted them up a lot. Mm-hmm. Oklahoma didn't really play anyone, but they were kind of a buzzsaw.
Okay, so to pick up where I left off, so I had 2 buddies. They went to the game. Both live in Dallas, don't know each other. And one literally sat on the Crimson and Cream. One sat in the Burnt Orange. And it was so funny to see, like, I'm scrolling through the Snapchats and I'm like, oh, he was here. And then I'm like, oh, he was here too. Holy shit. And then I figured it out. Like, wait, they were on the opposite side because the one was just super overjoyful. They scored the touchdown to end the game, win it. And it was like pandemonium. But then the other thing is, like, a minute left in the game, Texas took the lead, and it was like, oh man, we stole one again. And Texas, from what I saw, obviously I didn't get to watch, but from what I've seen, I saw a replay of it a little bit, saw the highlights. Texas didn't play an outstanding game.
No, they had a lot of moments they would probably want back if they played again today.
Oklahoma doesn't scare me at all. I'm not worried about them coming out of the Big 12. Texas didn't even scare me either. In my opinion, they're going to cannibalize themselves in the Big 12, and we'll have no Big 12 team in the playoff. That I think there's going to be a SEC champ, probably in Georgia, who's probably going to roll. The ACC champ. We're not going to end up with 3 undefeated ACC teams. Trust me, the committee would be pulling their hair out over it, and it would be glorious. But it's just not going to happen. And then you're going to have a Big Ten champ and probably a Big Ten, either Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, whoever doesn't win the Big Ten. And no, I'm not picking who's going to win the conference yet.
Even though Michigan's even money now.
Are they even money now?
Plus 110.
God, fucking love it. I absolutely love it. The underdog role is working perfectly. Remember, 9-3 I was sold this year.
All right. So, yeah,
Still got time.
It was a big game. I mean, it doesn't have much effect yet, but it could have a lot of effect towards the end, especially if they go to the Big 12 championship game where they both could lose one time. The other game I just wanted to touch on real quick because it was kind of a big deal is the late night cap. I was up till 3 o'clock in the morning watching it. USC, horrible defensive performance against Arizona. Arizona's brand new quarterback. I don't know how exactly new is. I think he's started just this season.
Not Jaden Delorier.
Yeah. Fifta. I don't know how to say his last name. I apologize. 303 yards, 5 touchdowns. He's slinging the ball all over this USC defense. Went into 3 overtimes where USC had a chance to win in regulation, and then they get a punt block or a field goal blocked, and it was just a messy game the whole time. I feel like Arizona took a nice early, I think it was 17-0 lead, and they just couldn't capitalize on it.
Yep.
They let USC come back around.
You want to know what the funny thing was about that game? And the reason I started laughing is when you brought it up was the field goal attempt by USC.
Yeah, it was a botch.
It was not the field goal kicker's fault, but the fact that they still attempted that field goal. Do you know how many things could have went wrong and they could have lost the game that way?
Yeah.
Like at that point, if I'm the holder, I'm not
just take the ball. Just take the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, he just kind of tried to pick it up and set it back down, and then the kicker ran backwards, stopped, and then just like it was a mess. Their defense still is going to be their downfall at the end of the season. I think that's their biggest missing piece. Caleb Williams does what he does, but it's going to bite them when they play the top two teams, in my opinion, in their conference in the next couple weeks.
Jed Fish, you are the next head coach in Michigan State.
I do not want Alex Grinch anywhere near my program.
No, Jed Fish, the coach
Jed Fish,
the coach of Arizona.
I could see that. I if you guys want to hire Alex Grinch, please.
No,
I will help the fund. I will personally donate to the Spartan Dogs for Life Fund.
Absolutely,
Make sure it comes happen again.
All right, Alex Grinch East Lansing. We're starting to get one. Hashtag.
So then we move on to looking forward into our beautiful conference this week. We'll start off with the current teams, and then we'll move to the big one, the big game of the week that everybody's looking forward to. A lot of noon games. All three of us play at noon this week, so thankfully we avoided the 3:30 slot, especially this week. I'll start it off. We're playing Rutgers. We're 4.5-point underdogs on the road, coming off a bye week. The biggest news that has been kept under wraps that our interim, whatever you want to call them, head coaches is kind of mentioned is I think there's going to be a quarterback change. I think Caton Hauser's starting this week. It's kind of been under wraps, and it should be interesting to see. It seems like when he comes into the moments of the game, the energy level change. It seems like people are backing him a little bit more. I mean, just from the overall fan base, especially when he comes in, even though it's later in the game. But I kind of like the idea of taking a young redshirt freshman and giving him a chance, because what we've had on offense so far hasn't been much production, and changing it up a little bit might give us that little spark to hopefully come out with a victory this week. Super low over under 39.5 points. It feels like we're playing Iowa again. And that's
super low win chance against who?
What?
You have a super low win chance against who?
I didn't say super low win chance against who. What?
You have a chance to win against who?
Oh, Rutgers. We'll see. I didn't say super low. I said super low over under in the total.
I don't know whether
They're letting you play a bye game this week in the year.
Huh? Oh, yeah.
I don't know whether.
Hey, just wait till we talk about Penn.
Thinking you have a chance to win, or Blake smirk when you said you had a chance to win.
I think we can have. I think we have a chance. Absolutely. I think this is.
We're a week out from some major fun.
Yeah. Yeah. The 3:30 game is the one you want to make say a bye week on this week. But the next game, Indiana travels to Ann Arbor.
Whoa! We're going in least importance here. He's on Peacock. He goes.
Okay. All right.
I'm on Fox.
Okay, we'll go to the infamous Peacock game, Mr. Cozy.
Just remember, you opened the season on Peacock. Who opened the season on CBS?
Oh,
hey, we're playing that team this week. Let's start comparing resumes.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, whoever wants to go first, it doesn't really matter. They're both at noon. They're both almost 20-point favorites.
Oh well, don't say that. It's us at Purdue. And fun fact: every Ohio State head coach has lost at least one game at Purdue since Paul Brown was coach at Ohio State in the 40s.
Yep.
Purdue's been our kryptonite for a while. There have been some good Purdue teams who have beat us. And then there's the Jim Tressel era where Jim Tressel couldn't figure out quite how to beat Purdue ever. For some reason, that was his kryptonite. And then everyone thought, okay, well, we had the whole 20, I think it was 20, 12 season or something like that, and we won 49-0 at Purdue. And it was like, oh, Urban Meyer knows how to win at Purdue. Okay, we're good. And then 2018 happened. And this is our first trip back, 2018. Now, we could have played that 2018 game 5,000 times. I'll say that the 2018 game, obviously, I think most people know, there was a certain person who they honored.
Yep.
And I'll just say this. It goes a long way because it was almost bigger than it was almost bigger than football. Yep. They were definitely going to win the game. I mean, Tyler Trent, he is what kind of all of us are. We're huge fans of our college football program, and it really, like, I remember watching the game and being upset we were losing, but then, like, they rushed the field. He was the center of attention, and it was like, yeah, this was meant to happen. Like, it was kind of like one of those things where it was like, okay, this is meant to happen. But once again, it's another game at Purdue. Doesn't matter. We've lost 2009 to 2011. We played them at noon. We lost. Who knows what Saturday is going to hold? We're not going to cover. I just know in my heart there's no way we cover this game. Yeah. I can feel it. That it's going to come down to cutting edge win at Purdue. And you know what? Everyone wants to go back to it, and I'll say it. 2002 at Purdue, that Purdue team went 3-9, and they probably should have beat us. But Craig Krenzel found Michael Jenkins in the corner of the end zone on 4th down. And I know everybody remembers the Brett Musburger call of Holy Buckeye. It's pretty famous for many years outside of Ohio State. So also Travion Henderson looks like he'll play. Mbuka still kind of banged up. He's day-to-day. It's not a long-term issue. If he misses this game, that's fine. Get him healthy for Penn State. I still think we win. I think we win by about 10-17, but 20 is a lot. 20 is a lot. Going in the fourth quarter, it's going to be a tight game. I don't know what it is about Purdue, because they have this stupid thing where they call the Breakfast Club, and their students do not go to the game, and they all dress up in Halloween costumes and go to the bar every Saturday because they don't go to the game. Yeah. So it's not like it's a raucous, rowdy environment. Maybe it's just too boring for us. I don't know. There's something about Purdue, though.
Moving on to the next one, Blake, since you are the big game on Fox.
I wanted to comment. By the way, since Michigan is such a great football fan base and they're so massive and huge, why did Peacock have their single most subscriptions bought in one day this past week?
Oh, here we go.
What do you mean?
They had the highest gross of subscriptions
bought this week.
Oh, because the Premier League's back.
Oh, yeah, because the Premier League's back. Yep, you got it.
Purdue League doesn't even play this week. It's
international.
I don't even know.
And a traveling to Ann Arbor, 33-point spread. Blake, should be interesting.
Once again, the best defense in the nation will be taking the field again, along with the best offense in the nation, both in Blake's Cool Power Metrics. No bias. I'm an independent journalist, okay? My Twitter says so. That being said, I don't know. I don't really care. I probably won't watch a snap. I'll be doing something more productive. I'm sure it'll be like 45-0.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't
I can't even hype it up. Indiana can't throw a forward pass. I mean,
it'll be over at halftime or earlier.
Yeah. I mean, I would be surprised I wonder if we're going to have 4 or 5 quarterbacks play this week. I don't know.
How many are on the roster?
Like 6.
Okay.
Kyle Kuzma's favorite player, Jason Denegal, has gotten in a few times. I think his first name's Jason. I have no idea. But Denegal, it was funny because it was like a random Ant Wright tweet, and they were like, or Blue by 90, and they were talking about like the roster breakdown. And Kyle Kuzma, right, professional basketball player, comments on it. What about my guy Denegal, who's like the 4th string quarterback? And it's like, what? So, yeah, true story.
Yeah. So then we move on to
we'll kill
the craziest midseason game. I feel like we're talking about the SEC now. Penn State host University of Massachusetts this week, 41.5-point spread.
Just
know what else to
remember,
say.
just remember, James Franklin made a comment about scheduling this week.
Yeah.
This week.
This week.
And there's a few things about it, right? So Michigan fans, we all took offense to this because we obviously canceled UCLA last year because those fraud cowards of Notre Dame are scared to play the real team in the Big Ten. So they canceled our series. And the problem with that is it screwed up the whole revenue sharing because obviously Michigan Notre Dame brings in a lot of money.
Absolutely.
So we needed some more home games. So we added 2 cupcakes, whatever. I mean, Michigan definitely would have lost at home to UCLA last year. Okay, let's be serious. But apparently he was not talking about us. He was talking about the mighty, historic, unbelievable matchup of Louisville against Indiana. So you're making a huge hullabaloo on your bye-week press conference worrying about Indiana. I said to a bunch of Penn State fans, I don't know what's more worrying, the fact that he's too scared to either talk about Michigan or he's actually taking time out of his day and actually angry about Indiana. Either one's a major red flag. That being said, I think the public betting, it's like 95% on UMass, which is very interesting. James Franklin knows the number and he probably bets in his own games. They're going to kill him.
Yeah, it's not going to be close.
They were throwing the ball to cover against West Virginia.
They ran a fake knee, not even throwing it. They ran a fake knee.
Fake knee, yes.
Try that one, Miami. That's how you do it.
Yeah, so then 3:30 NBC, middle of the day. There's no Big Ten night game this week, which is surprising.
It's a very bad Big Ten week.
Yeah, Illinois versus Maryland. Can Illinois bounce back? No.
I think Maryland puts them to the woodshed here.
Yeah,
this is done.
So the shocking thing is Fox actually made a great game at 4:00 this week.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they decided to take the 3 biggest Big Ten games of the year and not put it at 4:00.
Yeah.
Such a difference of styles, though. The 3 games going on. You got Tennessee, Alabama, or Tennessee.
Alabama's going to be going on. Yes,
what's it called?
I know.
Who is it? Tennessee, Texas A&M, and then you got Oregon, Washington, and then you got Iowa, Wisconsin.
Yeah,
Real ball knowers to be watching this game over any of that offensive nonsense out west.
Yeah. So the game that almost will decide. I mean, hypothetically, at this point, probably will decide the West. Iowa versus Wisconsin, both coming in with 1 loss. 4:00 on Fox. It looks like 58 degrees, partly cloudy, nothing too crazy. And in Wisconsin, about a 9.5-point favorite for Wisconsin. I think it will be pretty close. I think it will be. I mean, with the 9.5-point spread and 34 total points, you would think that it might be a low scoring, one-sided game type of thing. I think Wisconsin probably wins. I don't know, 21-7. If I
yeah, I can agree with that. I think it's going to be one of those grinded out kind of games, like always with these 2 teams. I can't do shit. Hey, you know what? We're going to come back here next week, and it's going to be 42-40 triple overtime.
Yeah.
I don't really care who we play anymore. I wanted to play Iowa in Indianapolis, but now that Cade's dead, I don't care. So whatever.
Yeah. So we got a couple good games this week.
You got to be arrogance over there.
Got a couple good games we can cover this week. UCLA, Oregon State. That's a good one. Miami, Miami, North Carolina, USC, Notre Dame, and that's pretty much it. Except for the big one, the 3:30 future Big Ten matchup, the big game that everybody's kind of circling this week. The Oregon Ducks travel to Washington in a top 10 matchup to see arguably who might win the Heisman. I think the more USC starts to fall apart, the more that Bo Nix kind of rises and can.
I can tell you right now, I have a ESPN page pulled up here on my other screen.
Yep.
And on the top screen banner, it's Bodacious. And then I scroll down a little bit, and on the right, it's Bodacious again in Oregon. They are hardcore pushing Bo Nix for Heisman.
Yeah.
This is Joey Harrington all over again. Billboards up everywhere. They want to get him a Heisman, which, hey, you know what? Good for Phil Knight. I love it. And you know what? I'll say this. I love Bo Nix. I am glad he's succeeding. I always liked him at Auburn. I felt like they didn't put a team around him. They thought he was going to be Superman and do everything because he was their golden child and their golden boy and this and that. When push comes to shove, I really like this Oregon team. And, man, it is really hard to go against Washington at home, though.
Yeah. I mean, they seem to have had their number. So I've been told by a couple fans that they had their number in recent time.
God, last year's game was up there with Cristobal behavior.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone remembers how that game happened last year.
Yeah.
So Oregon had the ball on their own 20-yard line. Yeah. Bo Nix is dead. Yep. He's on one leg. They bring in, was it whoever the backup kid is, like Thompson or something?
Yep.
They run 2 QB sneaks on like 3rd and 1 and 4th and 2. And they turn the ball over with a minute left on their own 10-yard line or whatever.
Yep.
And Washington kicks a field goal, wins the game. It was unbelievable coaching malpractice.
It was. And that's the thing. I really think Washington has everything points to me and says that how do you pronounce it? DeBoer, however you pronounce
DeBoer.
the name.
Oh, Kalen DeBoer.
He's an outstanding coach, I think.
Yeah,
I think he's really, and granted, he has Penix as his quarterback, so it can say that he's that like a good coach. But I mean, I kind of look at it and I'm kind of like, okay, Oregon, Washington, like this is a pretty big rivalry.
Yeah,
this is a pretty big game. And when was the last time they were ranked top 10 against each other?
Probably the playoff year for Washington, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I know that they were pretty good a couple of years ago when Washington had
last year was a ranked matchup.
Dropped the ball out of I know they're usually ranked, at least in the last couple of matchups, but should be interesting. I mean, almost 1,500 passing yards, 15 touchdowns, 1 interception for Bo Nix, so not a whole lot of air. 1999 for Mr. Penix and 16 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So these aren't really quarterbacks who turn the ball over a ton. The only downfall I would say in Washington is they just don't run the ball that much. And if they're getting locked up downfield, they're gonna have to try to develop a run against a very, very, very good team in Oregon, which might hold them back.
I'm so conflicted on this game because every metric and everything I see, Oregon should kill them based on physicality, trenches, and everything. But look at the spread.
Yeah, I mean,
just don't look at the spread. Have you watched the UW game?
I mean,
not in a while. It's a purple out, right? The purple rain.
Oh, it's a purple out. It's a purple rain game. That place rocks. Like they think Autzen rocks. It's very hard to go win at UW. And okay, call me crazy, but I think I'm going to make my pick to UW this week.
I think I am too. I think they are too explosive.
And Dub's going to get the win. Dub the Husky. There's a reason why they call him Dub.
I know Blake's very conflicted. It's a very.
I know now he doesn't want to take Washington because me and you took Washington.
Yeah.
And he wants to take Oregon, and I'm very conflicted because I think the winner of this game does make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think there is a chance. I think they have so many good teams that they're gonna kind of have a rough patch.
My bold prediction.
Yeah,
this will be the actual rematch in the conference championship game, not the Texas Oklahoma.
Yeah,
I agree.
But
I can see that.
If I had to pick something, I'd say the over, but I'm going to take Oregon. I think Bo Nix's legs have a crazy impact on this game.
I am also biased. There is a certain Twitter fan of the Huskies that I'm communicate with a decent amount. His name's T-Dog, so I'm also biased. He actually knows the actual Dubs. So I'm a little biased, and I'm gonna sway Huskies, even though Mitt may have something to say about it and not be too happy. But
can I put one game on the schedule here because I've never been more torn on a game my entire life.
Let's hear it.
I'm totally off the wall here. Florida, South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
This could be an absolute blow. I agree with you. This could be an absolute blowout either way, or it could be okay, it depends what team shows up. That's the problem.
Both teams have 2 versions.
Yes, exactly. They're Jekyll and Hyde, both of them. And if you get, and by the way, if you get both bad versions of these
Oh,
teams,
it'll be bad.
It'll get
that
fun.
game is going to be.
It will be like
No, it will
Big
not
Ten
be
West.
fun.
It'll be like
No.
the Big Ten West. Another game I'm kind of intrigued on is both teams coming off a bounce back. Missouri, Kentucky. They both kind of just got a little rocked last week. Can Kentucky bounce back after what happened against Georgia? I mean,
For the record, I'm leaning Florida. I think the run game runs them apart.
yeah.
Florida is going to be a live dog against Georgia, as crazy as that sounds.
I'm gonna be very honest with you. I think A&M and Tennessee are the same way as that Florida South Carolina game.
I agree with you as well. I am personally on A&M.
I don't know which way to go because like it's at Tennessee. Neyland's gonna be rocking, and then, but you could see bad Tennessee who came out against Florida. And do
It's
we even
the
know?
same. It's literally the same matchup for A&M back-to-back weeks. It's a team that's honestly run heavy with a pretty inaccurate quarterback with a cannon arm. It's quite literally the same thing. Like,
But they have the same coach, so
Why couldn't they have put that game at night, like the Tennessee game? Why couldn't they have put that at night this week? It would have been perfect to just fill that void. Or like in the afternoon.
you know how it is, the old people and the TV execs, they love their freaking Notre Dame.
They love noon. Which
Notre Dame.
I mean, Peacock is. Oh yeah, true. Peacock is interesting.
NBC gets a night slot, and there's no way you're not putting USC on nighttime TV with Caleb Williams against Notre Dame.
Yeah. Oh yeah, true.
which okay, so I'm gonna say this: Notre Dame will win that game. Notre Dame will win that game. Actually, I think Notre Dame wins that game easily because they actually shut down Caleb Williams a few drives, and I think Notre Dame dog walks them.
They're walking the dog.
I mean, we're talking. They are going to come out fired up, and here's the thing. Hear me out. Rivalry game. I talked to a lot of Notre Dame fans. They hate USC.
It's a 68% or a 62% chance on ESPN that Notre Dame wins this game.
All right, FPI is unserious. They have Michigan last year as a 3% chance to make playoffs.
I know that is biased numbers, but
FBI is terrible. I don't like FBI, but
Notre Dame Make sure they're not watching this. You said you don't like the FBI.
FBI is the Alabama and Ohio State metric.
Yeah, it is kind of. They have a defense. I've seen the eye test from Notre Dame. I've watched a few USC games because they've been on late. They have no defense. They can't even stop the run. And Notre Dame isn't terrible on the run, but now they actually have a quarterback. I think it's a 10-plus point win by Notre Dame.
UCLA or USC rather, obviously, they remind me of like the bad version of the Chiefs you get every once in a while, like kind of the Chiefs that played against the Jets a few weeks ago. Yeah. They get a little cute. He's always running around with his head cut off, Caleb, but he always makes it happen, and they win whenever they need to. I think I love the under in this game. I think was it like 63 or something stupid. Like I think again Notre Dame's defense is serviceable enough to slow down.
By the way, the over/under is now at 60. It's down to 60.
There you go.
It was at 64.5 to start. That's what it opened at.
We are only
I got it opening at 66.5, which is crazy.
Oh wow, okay.
The beautiful part about this whole thing, we are only 4 weeks away from action. The most beautiful time of the year. We're less than a month away from action.
We've got Fun Belt right now.
Yeah, we got Sun Belt, but it's not the same. It's not the action in the snow in the middle.
Like, are you taking USC then? Is that what I'm hearing?
I like the under. I mean, I don't want to pick the side. If I had to, I would take USC, but I love the under.
I'm going to take USC.
I actually have a guaranteed bet this week that I think is really going to hit. My guarantee of the week: UNC -3.5 against Miami.
I tend to agree with you. I don't know how you can have your players crying so hard, snot's coming out of their nose on national television, and bounce back. That breaks people, not teams. That breaks people.
Yeah,
this is a train wreck on a full-fledged off the rails kind of thing. Like they are going to fall apart. Miami will end up being an 8-4, 7-5 team after this loss. That is the game that literally derails a whole season, not just 1 week. This
A
is
coaching tenure.
My
you
lock of
gotta
the week.
really fix yourself after a thing like that happens. Like
My lock of the
Michigan,
week?
after the trouble with the snap, took us a while to come back after a few
Yeah.
games. Obviously, we still won them, but it was like, ghosts out there. You're not playing a Heisman level quarterback with, very good NFL talent on offense.
Here we go. Lock of the week for me. I'm going to take Kansas -3 on the road at Oklahoma State. I think that's a great spot for them. They are rolling with a backup quarterback.
Yeah, he's back. He's playing again.
Yeah,
so. Jalen's shoulder is still messed up from a year later.
Jalen still can't get healthy. They were underdogs last week at home, like 4-point underdogs, and they rolled 39-0, something like that.
Yeah, let me pull up my lock. I have my spreadsheet here.
It was 51-22 last week.
I also
their only losses to Texas. I don't see them losing this week.
I also tend to like Oregon State to cover against UCLA the 3.5. And once again, I'm doubting UCLA. I know, so I'm sure that was over real well. I don't like UCLA at all. I just don't think they're a good football team, and they somehow found a way to beat Washington State, which I was shocked.
Yeah.
I mean, they could move the ball against Utah worth crap. Granted, they have a freshman quarterback, so we'll see what happens. But
yeah, I've got two. I got two plays that are both. I got as 2.5 unit plays right now. I don't know, probably end up being 2, but Michigan I think is easy. But Friday night, 10:00. Shout out Dion. They're gonna kill Stanford. Very unserious program in Stanford.
Yeah.
You got a standalone game, ESPN Public. They had a really good job playing a really bad game when it was on Pac-12 when no one watched it. The graphic came out, they messed it up and it said 12 viewers. It was pretty funny. I think it ended up being like 1.2 mil or something probably, but it said 12 viewers. It was very funny. But yeah, you're on ESPN standalone Friday night. I don't even know if anything else is going on Friday night. I mean, I don't even watch baseball. I couldn't tell you a thing going on with that. But over under 60, it's going to be stars will be out for Stanford, and they'll kill them. Colorado rolls. I mean, it was 10.5 when I put it in. It's now 11.5.
Still good.
Who cares?
Yeah, they'll probably win by 20.
I did have one kind of, I guess, wrench in this whole thing, and we were talking about rematches from conference championship games, and we think Oregon Washington, which I agree is going to be the rematch in the Pac-12. There's a team out there that's actually playing tonight, West Virginia. I don't know if you've looked at their Big 12 schedule. Talk about easy. Like they go to Houston tonight. They play Oklahoma State. Then they go to the bounce house to play UCF. Then they host BYU at Oklahoma, Cincinnati, at Baylor.
They have an easy schedule. That is
shout out Neil Brown. You led every hot seat list. Everyone said you get fired by week 5. They're 4-1.
No, yeah, they have a chance to lose. They have a chance to go 9-3.
They have a chance to play in the Big 12 title game with that only loss being against Oklahoma, and that might be your Big 12 rematch.
Yeah,
because who would hold the tiebreaker? Because they don't play Texas, and I don't believe in Texas, to be honest with you. I think I'm gonna say it, and I'm probably gonna regret it. But there's going to be a major upset at one point from Texas again, and it's either going to be that at TCU or at Iowa State game. Which, by the way, once again, can we just talk about Matt Campbell though and being on the hot seat, or is our podcast going to get attacked?
Hey, listen, if they give you an option to upgrade in life, no one cares about loyalty. Take the money every time. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all we have. I don't know, any closing thoughts? Anyone? Are we good here?
Yeah, we have an argument that was brought up last night. Worst mascot in NCAA, Stanford Tree. It's horrible. I know you like it, Blake.
Yes.
Tree is horrible. It's horrible. I don't like it. It is bad. And I knew you'd get a kick out of that one.
I'm trying to think. I mean, the band's unserious. My cousin went there. I sail against them a lot. They had a big sailing cheating scandal. That was part of it, the college admissions thing.
Yeah.
We sailed against those guys. It's not a great mascot. I mean, I think it's so bad it's good. That's just me. I think the worst mascot is is the Kansas State mascot, where it's a guy in football pads with the head on.
Yeah.
I love that thing. He headbutted Corso and he drew blood from Lee Corso drew blood from Herbstreit when he had the head on.
Yeah,
It's literally
the tree not good.
No, it's got to be the guy who's going to make the trip to the Horseshoe in a week. It's got to be the meth Nittany Lion.
Yeah.
Like
imagine having a mascot in Child's Play. We're at winning national championships over here. I couldn't even say it with a straight face.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Blake would say, "I love a live Wolverine on the sidelines."
Do we want to get into this? Do we really want to go down that road?
Bookmarked, saved, ready to go.
Okay, actually, I do have another mascot that I was just thinking of, and it popped into my head. And he's someone who is near you, Blake. It's got to be Otto the Orange. He's literally legs. Like if you want to go with the Kansas State Wildcat, Otto is literally an orange that is sitting on top of someone's shoulder.
Yeah.
That's it.
He plays, though. Otto plays the Final Four. He's not a football mascot. He plays the Final Four.
No. Yeah.
Okay. Then fine. If we're looking for – okay.
The tree is bad. I don't care.
I got one better. I got one better than maybe even the Nittany Lion. The Cow Bear. Like he looks like Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, it's not great.
Nothing strikes fear into me from that. But no, I will defend the Stanford tree because it's very unique, and I absolutely love it. It's super unique. The band is weird, and I'm a huge fan of the band. Let's just put it that way. Huge fan of the band.
Well, all right, another weekend. Oh, we could touch on hockey, but we're pretty good because we all kind of rolled this week.
Yeah, I mean.
Some teams are not 2-0 this week.
Yeah,
Providence is a respectable program.
That is true. They are ranked. They are ranked, but
you still probably should have won.
We ranked them by losing us.
All right.
I mean,
hey, some of our players are out here getting 10-year extension. Shout out Owen Power.
Yeah.
Rookie of the Year, Fantilli. Bedard's a fraud.
Yeah. Did you see the head on Fantilli?
And the other Michigan rookie was throwing fists in the first game. Bedard's out here flopping. I don't care.
Yeah, hey, Bedard scored a goal already. They were showing graphics of him chasing greatness against Gretzky.
They lost. Don't care.
Just to let you know, Fantilli is going to lead the Blue Jackets to the playoffs. So,
wow, hot take.
In a tough spot with all these damn Wolverines on freaking Columbus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with the Magic. Same with the Magic. You're in a tough spot. You're like
Magic are sick. It's all Wolverines, man.
It's like, do I root for them? No. Yes. No.
Yeah. I mean, it will be the hockey's back and football season's in mid-season form, and next week should be an interesting show.
Absolutely.
Especially between you guys.
Yeah, we might have some special guests on this next week.
It'll be a lot of fun next week because it is, of course, Michigan State week.
And Penn State, Ohio State.
Penn State, Ohio State.
It's a big week.
And I will take a full 5 minutes to talk about my disdain for the whole state of Pennsylvania.
All right. Well, another great week. Oh, great week because we didn't lose.
Yep.
Not yet. All right. See you guys.
See ya.
Go Bucks.